For something to get done, I actually have to die.
Hey guys, it's your boy AKN here with a different kind of video. 2020, what a year so far. It all started out with the fires, from what I remember, the Australia fires, the plane that went down, COVID started, Kobe died. Like, man, like this year, it doesn't seem real at all, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just something keeps coming time after time after time after time. The thing that's hit me the hardest, I mean, don't get me wrong, everything else that's happened this year has been horrible, but man, I'm not even prepared for this video. There's not going to be any goofy music, no cutaways or anything, you know what I mean? Like, this is something serious. Like, it's George Floyd, unfortunately, passed away last week because an officer decided it was right to put their knee on his neck for 9 minutes. Like, that's completely, like, oh my god. How is it that it doesn't go through your head that I am killing this guy? He's crying out for his mother. He's saying, I can't breathe. You had, well, how many officers were on him? I think 3 or 4, like 1 on his neck and I think 2 on his back, from what I know. And the fact that you already had 3 people on him, you don't need to be crushing his neck. And that much force over what is, I believe, was a bounced check, like, or he paid with a fake 20 apparently. Like, there was no need at all. And it's just, it's been bothering me. Oh my gosh, man. And now we're seeing riots. We're seeing protests, a lot of peaceful protests, and unfortunately a lot of riots too. Ones that, don't get me wrong, there is, all races are there. There's white people, black people, Spanish people, you know, everyone's there. But the thing is, there's a lot of people taking advantage of it. Like, for example, they see this as an opportunity to go looting. They're like, oh, this gives me an excuse to go out and do what I want, because who's going to stop me, right? Yeah, the cops are there and all that, right? But they can't stop everyone. And there's people smashing into pharmacies, businesses are being burned down, ma and pa's shops. There was that Target that got completely just cleared out. I agree with peaceful protest. I agree with us taking a stance against police brutality, because the amount of times I've been profiled, even here in Canada, people like to think that, oh, it's not a thing here, or it's not that bad. And they even say that about the US. They say, oh, racism is not that bad. No, it's still around. It's still around, and it's very, 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 it can be like in microaggressions, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like overtly like out there, you know what I mean? It could be in just subtle ways. I get followed when I go into stores. I drive a relatively nice car, and I've been followed by cops. I've been, even back in the day when I was with my ex-girlfriend, we're really good friends now, but she's white, and whenever we would go out to dinner or hang out at the park, you know, just do something in public, I would hear older people, generally it was older people, sometimes it's people our age, but I would often hear older white people be like, oh, why is she with a, and then they would say the N-word. Obviously they're not saying it loud, they're kind of saying it to whoever they're with, but the thing is that they think I can't hear them. And even she's noticed it too, from what she's told me. Because I asked her one day, I'm like, hey, have you noticed that people, and then I go on to say what I'm going to say, and she's like, yeah, I've noticed that. It's just, like, it's actually crazy. We're in 2020, and stuff like that still happens. Like, it's man, I have no words. I'm literally at a loss for words. This is just decades on decades on decades on decades and on decades of just oppression that's finally just exploded in the last few days. They were just like, we can't take it anymore. It started out with one cop's actions that day, but it happens every day. And again, for the people that keep telling me that it's not that bad, how dare you say that? You cannot say that, especially, and again, I'm not against any race. I love everyone equally. I will never hurt anyone. I would never want to discriminate against anyone. But the things that the people who keep telling me it's not that bad, or at least the ones who did in the past, no one dares say that now. At least not to me. No one's been saying that, but in the past, it's white people. They've been telling me it's not that bad. You don't experience it, fam. I remember I dropped off my friend from work, so we worked together back when I used to work in my grocery store job. I dropped her off home once, and tell me how when I dropped her off in her white suburban neighborhood. She's a white girl too, blonde hair, everything. We're blasting music in my car, jamming out, we're having fun. And we see this old lady walking her dog. And she just looked horrified. Look of horror on her face, right? But I looked at her, I'm just like, oh, okay, like, you know, whatever. Just I'll mind my own business. So I say bye to her, we're like, bye, we're laughing and all that, and I drive off. Next day, she comes up to me, and she tells me, do you remember that lady we saw when you dropped me off in front of my house? And I said, yeah. She ran up to, apparently, according to my friend, she ran up to her afterwards and said, are you okay? Like, do you want me to call the cops? Like I was some pimp or some kidnapper or whatever who had her hostage or some bull like that. You know what I mean? And here I am in my, like, I was in my school shirt too. Like I wasn't dressed in a way that would seem like I was some sort of hooligan. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I was just chilling in regular clothes. We were just laughing, jokes in my car, music. But apparently, you can't just mind your own business without someone thinking that you're up to no good. And then there was that Amy Cooper with the guy in what was it? Was it in New York? I believe he told the lady, "Hey, can you put your dog on a leash?" And then she called the cops saying there's an African American man threatening my life as she's choking her dog. Fam, like, are you dumb? Oh my gosh! Thank God she got fired from her job, and they took her dog away. So happy, because if you see the video, I'm not going to play the George Floyd video, or I'm not going to show the Amy Cooper video or anything. I've seen them both enough, and George Floyd, that breaks my heart every time I hear it or see it or anything. It breaks my heart. And then Amy Cooper, I get so mad. I'm glad justice has been served with that and she lost her job, but fam, like, that's, just imagine all the ones that aren't being recorded, is what I'm saying. It's too much. And now we're seeing it in the States. And then Trump freaking clearing out a peaceful protest, just so he can take a picture in front of, St. John's Church, with a Bible that not even his Bible. Two, it was upside down apparently when he was holding it. And then I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, it seems like it was upside down. And he just wanted to see, he kicked whoever was in charge, the priest or whatever you want to call it, the priest or pastor of that church, apparently told that person to leave because the president wants to take a picture. That is the person who runs that church, and you're telling them to leave. I don't know, it was a female reverend, I forgot her name from what I remember, and she basically expressed her disgust, and she's like, we don't stand with that. She's standing with us. Black Lives Matter. And that does not mean not all lives matter. All lives matter. We're just saying we matter too, if you understand. Because people keep saying, when we say Black Lives Matter, we're saying, no, we're the only ones that matter, no one else matters. No. Every single life, white, black, everyone, every single life matters. But we're just saying we matter too. Like, I was watching Logan Paul's what do you call it? Impulsive or whatever you call it. I'm not a fan of the Paul brothers, especially Jake Paul. I can't stand him because he was part of the looting too, apparently. I saw the video. He said he didn't loot. In the video you don't really see him looting, but I think he said something about, yo, grab me a cologne, or maybe that was this camera guy, I don't know. But apparently in the video you see him someone hands him a stolen bottle of alcohol and he takes it. Whether he took it home with him or not, you shouldn't have been there regardless. We all make mistakes, but you should not have been there. Especially him being him, Jake Paul. People see him, and they're going to be like, oh, Jake Paul's here. now I can act up, maybe get some clout. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to throw shade on him, even though he's done some stupid things in his life. We've all done dumb things, but especially him. Like, he just, I'm not gonna get into him, but he just shouldn't have been there. I can only imagine the number of coronavirus cases that are gonna explode from these gatherings and protests. Like, I'm glad we're protesting. And what's his name there? Derek Chauvinov? God, I just look at him, pisses me. I'll just look at a picture of him right now. He got his sentencing extended from, or upgraded, I guess you could say, whatever you want to call it, upped to second-degree murder rather than third-degree murder, which just sounds like the most made-up title I've ever heard. Third-degree murder. What is that? No, he got second-degree murder now. Now he's facing up to 40 years apparently. That's justice. I'm happy. And it took all this screaming and rioting to finally get something that's actually just. Take that in. It took all this for a week of protesting and God knows how many millions of dollars in damages, which is so unfortunate. I don't support people destroying businesses, innocent people's businesses, or smashing cop cars and all that. I don't support that. It just makes us all look bad, you know what I mean? Regardless of whoever's doing it, race, they're just always going to attribute it to the black people did that. Even though if a white person did it or a Spanish person did it or whatever, they're going to say it was because of black people that this happened. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Regardless, all I'm saying is there's many ways to help. There's lots of charities out there, petitions. And if you're going to go out, please wear a mask. Like, people seem to forget that corona is like a big thing right now, and it's gonna be here for a while to come, you know. So if you're gonna go out, but wear a mask, wear gloves, try to keep your distance, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people forgot that COVID-19 is still killing people, a lot of people. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I have so many stories I can go into. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll have a little story time one day. Talk about all my crazy experiences in life. Because I got a lot of stories I could tell you. Funny and really aggravating from just experiences of racial discrimination. I don't even know. Thinking about it right now is getting me mad. But I went on a little rant. This is not the type. I wanted to do a video reacting to Abba and Preach. Now, if you don't know who Abba and Preach are, they're two YouTubers, comedians from Montreal, Ontario, Canada. So literally a few hours away from me. Shout out to Abba and Preach. You guys should go check out their channel. Amazing content. Amazing. And they're so funny. Honestly, you guys... Right now, they are my favorite YouTubers. I watch them every single time they post something. I love the stuff they post and they talk about. I'm nowhere near as well-spoken or articulate as Abba and Preach. But the video that I want to kind of break down and talk about today is something that hit me really hard. And with all the frustrations I'm having, they just expressed it perfectly, word for word. They just said it right. So that's the reason why I want you guys to watch it with me and we can talk about it. So let's just start that right now. Here we go.
Today's topic, the riots. Now, we've talked about these quite often. They've been spreading, they're still spreading, they're going larger and larger, and people wanted to hear our thoughts, and so I've taken a couple days to process. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think it's good that mom and pop shops are burning, that
exactly.
they're being vandalized, that things are being looted. There's no part of me that's ever going to say that.
See, exactly what I said earlier. I don't agree with that. There is no point in destroying what tax-paying individuals, people who work hard, people who had some of these businesses, people worked for decades to save enough money to finally start a business of their own. It was black-owned businesses too are getting destroyed. This one guy, he just opened a sports bar and they torched it down, and I think they stole the safe, the money he had in there too. And he's crying in his interview. Like, it's so heartbreaking, man. I don't know.
There's no part of me that's going to get mad at someone protecting their place of business from a looter. If you got to do that, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not mad at that.
Amen.
But when you come to me and you say, I can't believe that they're breaking buildings and they're setting things on fire, what do you expect?
Exactly.
What conflict do you know that has zero collateral damage?
Yo, that is, fam, he is so right. No matter what conflicts happen, there is going to be collateral damage, and he's going to go into it too.
Americans go to foreign countries and kill millions of people as part of collateral damage, and it's inevitable. Every conflict that's ever existed on this planet has had sacrifices and collateral damage. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't think it's okay. The same way you shouldn't think it's okay that millions of Afghanis and Iraqis died as a result of war. That so many people during World War II were raped and pillaged as a result of that conflict. Collateral damage is inevitable. But I do find it quite distasteful that people are so outspoken about brick and mortar being destroyed, people's livelihoods being destroyed. But when people are stripped of their most fundamental right, which is their life, so many of you are quiet. And the reason, and because you're quiet, that's the reason why people riot.
Exactly. Not all cops are bad. Trust me. You know, I've met some great, amazing police officers. But the thing is that some of them look at us like we're just animals, you know what I mean? And we're just stripped of our humanity, and we're just seen like animals, and they feel like they have the right to do whatever they want with us. And I don't know, let's go back into it.
Because people are silent on what matters, that's why they're rioting.
That too, sorry, I didn't get into that. People are silent. We're saying, hey, look at this is happening. No one does anything about it. I mean, we're trying to do something about it, but the people who actually have the power to, let me better word it, like people who have privilege, white folks, you have a better stepping stone to get something done than us, and yet nothing gets done. No one says anything, or they post something for a day and then they feel like, oh, I did my part, I'm good, that's it. No, okay, a Twitter tweet or a Instagram picture or whatever, that's good, but that's just where you start. You have to be proactive. You have to do more than that. Sign petitions, vote. Voting is like the most important, probably one of the most important things. Like, people, especially people my age, don't take the time to actually study who's representing their communities, and they don't vote. A shocking amount of people don't vote. And if you don't vote, you're potentially just gonna be stuck with the same, maybe not the same person, but someone who might be just as bad again. You know what I mean? So you have to do your part. Let's get back to this.
You know, riots are not the voice of people who want to take advantage of things. They're the voice of people who feel unheard.
Yeah.
And so when people are frustrated with decades and decades and decades of brutality, and they come to this point, and then you just be like, well, they charged George Floyd. It's not about George Floyd anymore.
It's not.
It's gotten to be about everything that's come before, a history of oppression. And if you don't take the time to acknowledge it, then you can't participate in this conversation in a meaningful way.
Amen.
That's why I was disappointed when Trump got out there. He's like, well, these thugs, if they start looting, we start shooting. What kind of leadership quality is that?
The fact that Trump said when the looting starts, the shooting starts, whatever he said, something like that. He quoted a police chief, I believe, from 1968 or something like that, who, man, he literally tweeted what someone said, a racist man said from the 60s. You think that's the, oh my, I'm literally at a loss for words. I have no clue what to say to that. That's the clown that they have as president. It's ridiculous. Let's get back to this.
What kind of leadership quality is that?
Exactly.
When you lack the empathy to understand why they're so angry, of course they're not going to listen to your pleas to stay calm. You mocked them, you made them, you dehumanized them, and it frustrates me as I sit here because people have so much to say, but they're not willing to listen. Everyone wants to open their mouths.
Yep.
Everyone wants to flap their gums. They want to type real fast and be like, you guys are wrong. You should never. But why are they there? Everyone wants to treat the symptom, which are the riots, but never wants to address the illness, the problem that we have here.
Amen.
This isn't a black people thing specifically.
not anymore.
If you look at who's rioting, it's just young people of all different races and colors.
Like I said, literally, it's everyone's doing it now. It's not just us. It's white folks, black folks, Spanish folks, Asian folks. Like, everyone is rioting. Like, literally.
Yeah, because they're affected too. They're affected too, right?
Exactly.
Because it's not as segregated as you think.
Right, and so because this is such a multicultural country and these people are living with people from different communities, they feel their friends suffering.
There you
They
go.
feel their community suffering, and so they're in there with them.
It's not a black and white thing no more.
So I would just take time for people to try to understand. You know, just a quick note: these videos, these topics that we're covering, they're going to be demonetized, and when they get demonetized, that means it's harder for people to view them. 'Cause
Exactly.
YouTube, the algorithm affects it differently. So if you want.
So like their video, share their video. Like my video, share my video. But especially theirs, I'm going to leave it all in the description down below. Go subscribe to them too. Honestly, they're just so amazing.
Want to be able to push this message out to more people. You want more people to see this discussion, please start the video, hit the like button, make sure that everyone can see this so that we can spread this far and wide. Leave a comment, all that good stuff. All right,
Amen.
and if you're not already subscribed and you're just watching, hit that subscribe button, you know, hit that bell so you can catch these videos proper.
And
now,
if you want to support more, you know, there's always a Patreon. There's always
I don't have a Patreon, but if you want to support me, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're about to hit an ad.
to watch as well.
and it bothers me that you paint everyone with such a broad brush. They're all looters. Really? Is that what you think? When you look at all the footage of all the peaceful
There's
protests,
so many.
people laying down calmly and just trying to emulate George Floyd's last moment.
So many
Do you
peaceful
think that they're
protests.
the same as looters?
No.
When you come at this with a lack of nuance and you just scream, you're just adding noise. You're not saying anything of substance. So you can choose to be empathetic and try to understand so that you can see what's happening for what it is, or you can just look at it from the lens that you've been looking at it. But I can see both sides. I can understand why you wouldn't want the mom and pop shops to burn down, and I could also see why they're rioting. But the reality is, until you address why they're rioting, those shops will burn.
See, he can articulate it much better than I can. It's exactly my thinking. It's ugh, man, we're gonna keep watching. I don't even want to lose this momentum right now.
And it's inevitable. That's the only two words I have. It's inevitable. So people always bring up, why don't you guys do things like Martin Luther King Jr.? Keep in mind, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
For what?
And when,
Yep.
when did we see riots as big as this? Right after he was assassinated. You know, there's this idea that's permeating that you have to protest peacefully and that's how things get done. Yet the inception of this very country is built off of violence. It's built off of riots. It's built off of revolution. When Americans existed here under British colony rule and they saw injustice and they didn't like the way things went, what did they do? They rioted. They started their revolution.
It was about to happen. If someone that whisper is not heard, he's going to start talking. If he's talking, he's not heard, he's going to start screaming. If he's not heard, he's going to start punching. If he's not heard, he's going to
just
start
keep
breaking
going up.
stuff. If he's not heard, he's going to start hurting.
It just keeps going up. The more you ignore people's pleas for help, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse. Worse for the people who are actually being hurt, and worse for everyone around them who's ignoring them. Because now the people who are being hurt are gonna start to lash out. We're gonna start to, exactly like what Preach said, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse till what's happening today is gonna happen. You know what I mean?
If he's not heard, then it escalates.
And we don't want people to get hurt. We don't want people to die. No one wants people to die. And that's the thing. It breaks my heart when I'm seeing people getting killed, even in the riots right now. Like, whether they're police officers or just regular folks.
Back in LA, when there's something that happened back then with the police, and we know the LA police is renowned for that, you know. When it happened in LA, it was one thing, but people were watching, right? And it was still not heard. And now it's happening again. And the problem with the police, and I have with the police, is that they often don't de-escalate stuff. They don't, and that's what happened. So you see a public outrage of the you see the public outrage, and people are in the street, and the response of the police is what? Rubber bullets. So you create outrage on top of outrage.
It's true. Have you guys seen the damage those rubber bullets can do to someone's face? Man, I saw this image of a girl. I'm not even gonna put it up, but it's really graphic. But her head is completely like split open right here because she got shot in the face with a rubber bullet. Some other guy got shot in the face, I believe, with a smoke canister or a tear gas canister, like right in the face. He lost his eye. It's either that or a rubber bullet. I don't remember what it was, but he lost his eye. So man.
If I put oil on fire, I gotta expect a bigger fire, and that fire to spread, right? No, it's not like that. It's not the businesses. Now you're adding water. You're adding water on top of an oil fire. That just spreads. That's all that does. And now everybody's riding. There's people riding even everywhere. There's protests even here. People are protesting overseas. This thing is not just a USA thing.
It's not.
It is not.
It's worldwide.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same. There's differences, but it's not a U.S. People abusing power. That's what it is.
That's the issue. That's literally the issue.
People are fed up because they're abusing power. That is not just a USA thing. It's not a Minnesota thing. It's not a George Floyd thing. It's just not one thing. It's spread. People are just fed up. Mm-hmm. And now people are just looking at things and there's more people that are being conscious of what's really going on. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening. It's no longer the people that are affected that are all pissed off. It's the people that are seeing things that are not happening.
See, I'm quiet. I'm just listening to what they're saying, and I hope you guys are listening too, because this video of theirs is definitely not going to get spread around. So even with the little subscribers I have, I want folks to see this video. Just listen to exactly what he's saying. It's just it again, like he said, and I'm going to say this for like the fifth time. It's not a U.S. thing only, and I want people to know that we're not saying it's just in this U.S. This happens here in Canada. This happens in all over Europe. This happens all over Asia. Like it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like people are oppressed, and it's not just a North American thing. It's just everywhere. Abuse of power,
and not moving forward. Now everybody's pissed off. It's just gonna get, and if they keep on if they keep on escalating things, it's gonna escalate and it's gonna get worse. There are other steps to this thing. We're not at the worst, and I believe, unfortunately, you already know I'm a fatalist. I know it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Unfortunately,
that's unfortunate. I don't want that.
I think that's what's going on. That's what's happening. It's just a normal course. Of course, they're rioting. Of course. Do I agree with the fact that they're breaking stuff? No. But what did you expect?
Exactly. What did you expect?
You push. Eventually, someone's gonna push back. Mm-hmm. That's what I understand. That's what I get out of this thing.
That's literally what I get out of it too.
It's normal that people are doing what they do.
It sucks.
I don't agree with everything, but I understand.
But I understand exactly. But I understand.
The thing that happened as well is that if you're, because what you're doing right now is that you're mad at the woman because she killed her husband. You're mad at her. You're mad at the woman because she killed her husband, but you didn't look at the husband beating on her and raping her
every day.
Every day. So I don't necessarily agree, but I understand why she did it.
Exactly.
And frankly, dear, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. Sums up everything. I don't agree with it. Most of us don't agree with it. But we understand why it's happening. All this violence and stuff.
When you go to
that's just me.
When you go to the police and they say we're not going to stop him, when your community and your neighbors don't do anything to stop the person that's abusing you every day, then yeah, at some point you start to go nuclear.
And you have to understand how you have to understand how all of this works. In order to something to be done, there has to be something that was done. If I'm able to get up and go to the police and make a complaint and I'm okay, chances are things are not going to get done because I can't show whatever. For something to get done, I actually have to die. And even if I die, something might not even happen.
That's the sad thing. It takes death for something to finally get done. And if no one dies out of this, or there is no outrage, they just leave it be. Nothing happens. And it just repeats. You know what I mean? So,
of course they're gonna riot. What do you think?
Right? You got armed, trained soldiers who go to foreign countries and and a lot of them are not disciplined enough to wage conflicts ethically. but you expect untrained civilians who are engaging in protests to know how to riot appropriately. Does that make sense to
When
anybody?
they're getting shot, sprayed,
Yeah.
or fumed.
Does that make sense to anybody?
You're tripping. You guys are tripping.
And I guess, like, I told people that, this is like the way I described it, but it's like when you get punched and you don't know how to box, your first reaction is to start swinging.
That's true.
You swing wild. Well, that's what you're seeing. You've been seeing people who've been punched, who've been kicked, who've watched their neighbors get killed, who've watched their siblings, who've seen strangers that look like them die on camera, and nobody moved. So they said, I'm going to engage in my own self-defense. And what do?
Exactly.
They start swinging. That's what I'm seeing right now.
That's why it's so wild.
That's it. Nobody wants to riot. You think we wake up and we're just like, fuck yeah, let's start burning down? No.
Exactly.
You
We
have to
don't.
be pushed to that point.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty.
That's pretty much it for this. That's Abba and Preach, y'all. Probably one of the most well-spoken YouTubers I've ever seen on this channel. Honestly, they're just so good. Again, like I said before, that video, the link's going to be in the description down below. Their YouTube channel is going to be in the description down below. Go subscribe and go like the video and go share that video too, if you can, please. They just summed up everything I was thinking, to be honest. And honestly, all I'm saying is what's happening today is what happens when you push someone or you push people every single day, and we ask for help and nothing gets done. And that's why we're seeing all this. I'm going to say it again because I don't want people to take this out of context or anything. I don't agree with people destroying businesses or homes or attacking police cars or police officers. That's not right. That's not peaceful. We don't want people getting hurt. It's unfortunate people are doing that. But the thing is that don't be surprised that it is happening, because it's just people are just fed up. Anyways, that's it. I've already recorded for long enough. I've been talking long enough. So please like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Please, if you're going to go out and do peaceful protest, wear a mask, be safe, and take care. Peace.